pain was awful. Back surgery was imminent. Thankfully, I found AmnioWell.
So Brian, that's quite exciting to hear such a phenomenal response. One of the things we know about the AmnioWell product is that it has quite a few anti-inflammatory properties with anti-inflammatory cytokines, things like IL-10. And we know that those products, not only those cytokines there are anti-inflammatory cytokines, but we also know that they're products, they're growth factors that help then stimulate your body's own cells to regenerate. Things like cartilage, things like ligaments and tendons. And so a lot of that healing came with the regeneration of tissue in the whole field of regenerative medicine. So, quite exciting to see that you have gotten such a wonderful response. I think we've only just touched the surface of the capabilities and what we're going to see to come with the AmnioWell product.
The most encouraging thing to me, besides avoiding the surgery, was within less than a month, the ability to get back in the gym, to start training again, to start getting that healthy feeling was an absolute blessing.
I was fortunate enough to actually try the product and I was having quite a bit of pain in my left shoulder. I had been having it for the past 2 years or so. And in the gym, really limited the amount of weight I could lift, and so I was a little bit frustrated. After using the AmnioWell product, after one treatment, amazingly, the next day I was back in the gym with no shoulder pain, and in fact that was probably about 4 months ago, and I still haven't had that shoulder pain since. And so it's been really amazing. I actually am using it for just a general wellness perspective now, from an anti-aging perspective, and I think that I'm going to continue to use the product because I truly believe in the wonder of nature, and I am going to continue to be AmnioWell.
From the time of 2014 till the end of 2015, I was, I had 2 knee surgeries in that time.
What did they do?
Two ACL surgeries.
Oh, 2 ACLs.
Yeah, the first time it was like a year in the healing, and
same knee?
Same knee. Yep. The cadaver
knee. Oh, yeah.
So then I had to get a new graft.
New graft.
And then the graft I took was from my own patellar tendon.
Yeah.
So I thought that would kind of get rid of the problem, but then it seemed to be seemed to kind of convolute the problem even more, just because of scar tissue and everything I had from before, and I wasn't all the way through breaking down the first set of scar tissue from the first surgery. So I had 2 years of scar tissue on this knee, and it was just hell. I never felt the strength that I used to have in a leg come back at all. I actually felt as if.
Or did you have full range of motion, or were you restricted?
It was restricted a bit, but it was kind of it was very stiff, and I felt as if I couldn't I couldn't move in any kind of lateral way too fast without feeling the risk of hurting myself. And that's where that was my primary strength. I was a smaller athlete for the 205 weight class, so movement was my thing. And my legs, I used to have some big legs, and that was primarily how I would deceive people to think I was a lot smaller than I was.
Hey, I'm Sugar Rashad Evans, former UFC light heavyweight champion, UFC Hall of Famer, and I want to share my story with you on AmnioWell. I had 2 knee surgeries on my right knee, and it pretty much ended my UFC career. I just never got into the cage and felt confident enough, and when you're in the octagon, confidence is king, and I just never felt the confidence in my knee again. And I tried so many different therapies, cell therapy, all kinds of different things that I use for my knee, and nothing really worked, to be honest. It would work for a little bit of time, but then it would always go back to how it was. And when I tried AmnioWell for the first time, it was completely, revolutionary for me, because it was the first time that I ever experienced having a treatment, and then right away it felt amazing. Not only did it felt amazing, it felt like how it used to feel, and I couldn't believe it for a while, but that was the power of AmnioWell.
About a month ago, I started on AmnioWell for my shoulder. I had frozen shoulder, and for 2 years I suffered with a lot of pain. And I received my first shot and had almost instantaneous relief.
Probably 2007 was I actually started trying to do some sit-ups after competing in one of my major bodybuilding competitions, after coming out from retirement, after turning 50 years old and back on the stage again. reignited training and did some sit-ups and got a lower back pinch, which turned into a career-ending exercise. So 10, 12 years later, still dealing with that same undowering, I won't call it inflammation, I think, because the pain factor, I went through all the phases. You know, it was a low degenerative disc, they called it, or possibly a bulging disc, you know, and it was like, you start with that pain management, you try to find out what it are, MRIs. This is 2007 we're talking right now, early 2007. And from 2007 till today, it's been a downward spiral with it. It really just kicked me out of everything. From doing physical workout, back was totally weak. All the diagnoses went from, okay, from a minor disc, probably a rupture, probably a slightly bulge, to we gotta do major surgery. We gotta fuse your spine and all that kind of stuff. So I left all of that alone. Tried to get into some acupuncture, we did. Only thing that really saved me was manipulation on anesthesia. That opened it up, and I was able to get some movement in my back, and it almost get me to the quality where I am now. Because before that, it just shut me down. I mean, I was just literally on my stomach for 3 months because I couldn't really stand up straight. The back was always a problem. And it just, I'm stuck with that. You know, I went through all the treatments I could possibly get. Nothing helps. This is 5, 6 years later. I revisited again because of the fact that I feel like there is a waistline. Around my waistline is just soreness. You know, so I can take the letter T, turn it upside downward on my spine, and from the base of my spine all the way around the hip line, it's just like wearing a belt. It's been sore every single day for 15 years, okay, since 2007.
I'm so impressed with this AmnioWell injection and this concept that it has definitely taken that whole fear I had of that continuous lower back soreness and the back tightness and the back injury that I suffered back in 2006. So from 2006 to now, it's been just a hell of a road. And with the injection now 30 days behind us, weekly progressionary reports, I have not turned around. It has been a plus, 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 plus. So right now, this has been such a great adventure for me to be utilizing this AmnioWell.
You know, my first response to it, and it's almost going to seem like this is set up, or I'm saying this for the TV, or to be nice in front of you, or to pitch it, but literally 3 weeks ago, I started having back pain and went to do an MRI 2.5 weeks ago, and flat out was told that you have to have back surgery. It's up against the nerve, it's going to cut this, cut that, and degenerative. And that was like absolute for sure. And I'm against surgeries right now, saying that I've had 35 of them, and I do everything possible to avoid them, 35 surgeries, and I do everything possible to avoid them. And my back pain was so bad 2.5 weeks ago that I told myself, I want to have this surgery, knock me out. I've had it. Between the MRI, Eric, and then 2 days later it was supposed to be the surgery. In between that, I got that exosome first treatment. I just got one of them. Just a few months ago, overweight, back pain, no energy. I knew I had to do something about it, and I found AmnioWell. Here I am today, almost 100 pounds later, pain-free and feeling great, living AmnioWell.
I feel great, and I'm AmnioWell.
I'm Sugar Rashad Evans, and I'm living AmnioWell.
AmnioWell videos depict actual AmnioWell results. Though results are typical, they are not guaranteed. AmnioWell has in some way compensated all individuals speaking about their AmnioWell experience. We are not physicians or medical providers, and we make no claims as to the effectiveness of our products because each patient may have different conditions, circumstances, and/or goals. A healthy lifestyle plays a significant role in the videos presented by AmnioWell. The statements made in these testimonials have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Our product and therapy is not intended to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Studies are underway, including a pilot study of human amniotic fluid for COVID-19 associated respiratory distress and/or failure concerning the COVID-19 virus. There are currently no scientific outcome studies determining the efficacy of AmnioWell AF or AmnioWellness protocols to in any way prevent the coronavirus or help to mitigate symptoms.